Welcome to the Bivoc. This is the game of Crusader. To play this game, you're going to need one standard deck of 52 cards with 2 jokers. This game, the gameplay is pretty simple, and I'm going to go over the gameplay first before I describe all these cards and what they do. What you're going to do is you're going to deal out 5 cards to any players you're playing. This game can go up to 3 players. Any more and the game kind of breaks. Players will look at their 5 cards and organize them whatever way they see fit. I'm actually going to keep this as is because it's pretty good. Maybe I'll flip these 2 around. Okay. But once they are ready and settled with their hand, they can't change it anymore. And that is important because the position of cards is important in this game. This player's got some junk. So, the way this works is one player, let me slide this up so I can see you. Okay, one player will start. At the beginning of your turn, you will draw a card and place a card anywhere in your hand. Then you will discard 1 card from your hand and play it. So I'm going to play this queen. Whatever card that you play has a certain effect. And we'll go over those in just a second. Once that effect plays out, it's the other person's turn. The game is over when only one player is left remaining with cards. Or the deck has been run through a second time. So once the deck runs through once, you run it through again, and then you don't draw any more cards. The game still goes, but you don't draw any more cards. So that's going to signal the end of the game pretty shortly from there. Now let's see what these cards do. We'll start here at the top. The Crusader himself. The Crusader will take 3 cards out of the enemy player's hand and discard them. Okay? So they're going to just pick out 3 cards. They don't get to see them, you just pick 3. Okay? And they go to the discard pile and they're not played. The Ace does the same thing as the Crusader. Picks 1 card out. It will always take it down, but only 1 card instead of 3. Also, if the card is a 6 or less, you get to keep the Ace and put it back in your hand. Otherwise, it's played. Kings and Queens do the same thing. You'll play them and then draw 2 more cards. Jacks, 10s, and 9s also all do the same thing with slightly different power levels. If you lay this card, you're going to pick a card out of the other person's hand. If it is lower than the card that you selected, so for instance the Jack is a 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, or 2, then they lose their card and you keep your card. Your Jack in this case. But if it happens to be higher than or equal to the number you took, so in this case a Queen, they keep their card and you lose the Jack. Same thing for the 10, except it's slightly flipped on the power level. 8s and 4s do the same thing. They are flee/pursue. If somebody is about to attack you, usually with a Crusader, you can drop down an 8 or a 4. And that means you have fled. They can drop an 8 or a 4 to pursue you. And it goes back and forth until one player stops. If it ends on a flee, all the cards stay down, and the action is not taking place. The Joker just is dead, or whatever card you use is just dead. But if it ends on a pursue, the action persists in addition to all the cards being still placed down. All the 8s and 4s. The 7, you'll flip the top card of the deck. If it is higher than a 7 or equal to, then you lose the 7 and 1 additional card from your hand. If it is lower than a 7, okay, then you keep the 7 and you gain 3 cards from the deck into your hand. A little bit of a gamble there. 6s and 5s do the same thing. You pick one, and you can either choose their leftmost or their rightmost card to get rid of out of their hand. So they will just discard their hand, and you always lose the 6 or the 5. You can't get it back, but you can also take down any card, like an Ace in a way. 4s already said. 3s are one of 2 things: either A, draw 1 card, or reorganize your hand. 2s are the Underminer, and they have the option to be the most powerful card in the game if you play them correctly. When you lay down a 2, you're going to tap a side of the enemy player's hand. They will let's say we tap this side over here. They will discard, discard, discard until they reach a card that is a jack or higher. Once they do so, they will show it to prove that they have hit one, put it back where it was, and that will be it. But all the other cards that you chewed through to get there are discarded and not played. Okay? So, of course, if you have a hand that has no face cards, and you lay this Underminer, you can wipe through your entire hand. And that does happen, and that can be a very quick way to win the game. That's what all the cards do. Once you know what all the cards do and have the general basics on pick up a card, play a card, perform the action, maybe you're taking cards, maybe you're not, and then it goes the other person's turn, and the first player to eliminate the other player's hand of cards is the winner. That is the entirety of Crusader. Good luck. And I want to tell you something special, because these cards were, if I remember correctly, those look very similar. I'm assuming it's the same deck. The same exact cards that I invented this game on several years ago at my grandparents' house. And the game is called Crusader because it says Crusader on the Joker. I was very creative back then. Apparently this deck is from 1987, according to this little calendar card that's given in here too. Cool. But yeah, that's something special about this. I'm happy that I have this deck here with me to show you this wonderful game that I created and I'm very happy about. Thank you for viewing, and good luck.